Welcome to Nina Cucina. We are having a Spanish night, so I am making two of my very favorite Spanish dishes, Nina Cucina style. I am going to start with my traditional gazpacho, a raw, cool, and crisp soup offering 70 calories, 2 grams of protein, 3 grams of essential fiber, plus 129% of the recommended daily allowance for vitamin C, with a little punch of vitamin A, 36% of the recommended daily allowance, plus 30% of your vitamin K that you need for the day, with some great anti-inflammatory properties. Following that, for our main course, we are going to do paella my way, my West Coast paella. 405 calories and a whopping 41 grams of protein, with 5 grams of fiber and a huge punch of vitamin B12, that feel-good vitamin, 239% of the recommended daily allowance. Now, we're going to offer you great minerals with this also. 69% of the recommended daily allowance of selenium, and that is the mineral that helps us fight cancer, plus a whopping 99% of the recommended daily allowance for vitamin C. Now, let's get started first with the gazpacho. This is a totally raw soup, as I told you, and it is a totally delicious soup. You're going to be blown away by the flavors without even cooking one single thing. This is wonderful in warm weather, and I have it in the refrigerator actually quite often, just whenever I need a little pick-me-up. Now I'm chopping about 3 cups of tomatoes here. That'll get me a nice tomato base. There we go. Set those aside for now. Now, peppers. I'm going to be cutting up about a cup. That's about 2 medium peppers, and I'm going to do 2 different colors, just to keep the colors beautiful and bright in my soup. I'm just running my knife down the side of the core of the pepper and just taking off the bottom, and you get that core that you can just dump right into your garbage or into your compost if you prefer that. Now I got a few little seeds there, so I'm just going to tap those into my garbage can. And I don't have to do a whole lot of work with these peppers, because the food processor is going to handle most of the work for me. All I'm going to do is get rid of some of these little core pieces that I missed. That white stuff is a little bit fibrous and it doesn't taste very good. So I'm just going to remove that on all my pieces. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a rough chop. Not too much, just enough to help the blade of the food processor out in case it just tends to miss a piece. And back into my bowl it goes. Now, I have some beautiful English cucumber, also known as a hothouse cucumber, and they're great because the skin is really thin and they're pretty much seedless. So I'm just going to give that the same treatment, just a rough chop. Look how pretty and green that is. Back into my bowl. Now I've chopped some onions, roughly. I never do that in front of a camera because I'll just cry Niagara Falls. And I have here my favorite kitchen machine. my food processor. That's where all the action is going to happen. I'm going to start with my onions. I'm just going to pour them right in, and my peppers and my cucumber. I'm going to use all the tough stuff first and just get them moving around the bowl a little bit. Pop those right in. Lock that baby down. Oh yeah, that's why I love it. It always does it for me. All that hard work. One more spin with the tomatoes. Now, I'm just going to add about 1 1/4 cups of fresh OJ. Yes, fresh OJ. That's going to give it a wonderful sweetness that you just can't get anywhere else. And plus, it's going to give you that extra punch of vitamin C. I'm going to mix that in. Now my flavorings. I'm using just about a teaspoon of balsamic vinegar, and I've chosen black cherry balsamic for its sweetness. You can use any sort that you like. About 1.5 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice for freshness. And of course, my best friend, garlic. Just about a 1/2 teaspoon, not too much. About a 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. I'm using pink Himalayan. You can use any type you like, just please use sea salt. It has more minerals and less sodium than the table variety. And I'm going to use just a pinch of piment d'Espelette. Now that is a pepper. You can use cayenne, you could even use hot sauce. I love this pepper. It is from the Basque region of Europe. That's that little spot kind of right around Spain and France, and they have fabulous food. And this has a nice, smoky, hot flavor. So that's why I'm adding it. I'm going to shut that down. Now I'm just going to move these things out of my way and grab myself a bowl. Now we're going to pour this wonderful soup right into this bowl. Pour away from yourself. I am holding the blade in with my middle finger. There we go. Just like that. Perfect. And now I'm just going to pop this right into the refrigerator and let it cool while we start prepping our paella. Now my broth has reduced and my veggies and my quinoa are cooking, so I'm going to go ahead and add some flavorings now. I'm going to add some smoked paprika. Wonderful flavor for our paella. And I'm going to add, of course, saffron, a nice pinch. Now, I got this saffron at Savory Spice. It's not always easy to find great spices. I've had troubles with it until I found this store. I'm going to stir in that saffron and get things looking nice and golden. Now, I love the flavor of saffron. I was brought up with it. My dad used to make me paella all the time, and it was one of my favorite dishes of his. And I just loved that look of that yellow rice. To me, that was pretty cool. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of sea salt, about a 1/2 teaspoon, because of course my vegetable broth has salt in it. And add my garlic, about a tablespoon. Stir that in. Now I'm going to add some cubed chicken thighs. I have cubed these and removed all of the fat. Oops, missed one. There you go. Now normally people use chicken legs in their paella. But this I just find to be much easier. It cooks more quickly. You don't have skin, so you don't have to worry about the excess fat and calories. And actually, well-trimmed chicken thighs have not that many more calories or fat than chicken breast. And because it's a thigh, it really holds up better in the dish. Now I'm just going to cover that for another 5 minutes or so to let my chicken cook almost all the way through. Then we'll start adding the seafood. Ooh, that just looks fabulous. Now I'm going to do a little mix of peppers here, last but not least, before we put our seafood in. Just a few grindings of black pepper. And just a touch of pimento split. Ooh, I just love this stuff. Oh, maybe just a pinch more. Give that a little stir around the pot. Now, let's get the seafood in. I'm going to start with about 1.25 pounds of manila clams. And make sure you wash these well and that they're closed. If they're open, they're already dead and you don't want to use them. I'm just going to spread them around the pan. Now you can actually buy these a couple of days before you make this. What you do is you keep them in a bowl over a bag of ice and let them breathe. In other words, don't cover them. And they really last well. You just have to create their own environment for them. Just kind of spread them all around the pan so everybody gets a little bit when you bring it to the table. Next, I've got about 3/4 pound of large shrimp, and I'm just going to lay them right on top and kind of smush them in between my clams. And I get them with the little tail ends on. I like that. I think that just adds a little bit of something special to the dish. Got to keep that authenticity going. I'm going to sprinkle my prosciutto that is nice and crispy right back on top. You can kind of squish them in between if you like. So everybody gets a little bit of that nice crunchy ham flavor with every bite they take. And finally, the last of my seafood are scallops. These are large scallops that I've just cut into big chunks, just so they're more bite-sized. You can pour that liquid from the scallops in as well. Just give everything a little zhuzh down. And last thing, frozen peas. And you're just going to sprinkle them right on top, and they're going to give it a fabulous green, springy look. Little bit of fashion there. Green is really in this spring. Covered up, and we're just going to leave it for about 5 minutes, maybe 7, just until the clams open up and my scallops are cooked through. Now I've just taken the cover off and I'm giving this a stir, and it just looks fabulous. The aroma is spectacular. I've got some great little ramekin plates, just little casseroles. Each individual is going to get their very own casserole full. I'm going to give this person is going to love me for this. Look at all that beautiful seafood. Now this is really a protein powerhouse. This will make you feel good after a long day of work. Sauciness on top. I like putting some fresh chopped parsley right on each individual plate. And just as a little bit of garnish, a couple of lemon wedges per person. can even do 3 now. Doesn't that just look fabulous? Now that will satisfy your appetite. I'm just going to finish plating these and take them out to my guests. We are really going to enjoy our Spanish night this evening. Thanks for joining me today at Nina Cucina. I'll see you next time.